how I got email open rates over 100% and reply rates at 13%, and it's not what you expect. Stick around to the end and I'll give you some freebies. So if you jump into my screen share, you'll see that I have open rates at literally 100% and reply rates just under 13% for this campaign. And there's lots of pieces that go into making this success. So I will go by some of these really quickly and stick on some of these more kind of long-term. Now, the most important thing is gonna be your copy. Obviously the copy is how you're getting that 100% open rate and those high response rates. One of the things you wanna look at is, we didn't reach out to that many people, but we had a lot of opportunities for the number of reach outs. So it's not just, open rates is great, response rates is great, but are they positive responses? So this is a very successful campaign for us. We don't have to reach out to millions of people when we're using the right data and we're using the right copy. It has to be something that people are interested in, and then it has to be to the right person, so that targeting list is important. There's also all the technical pieces of sending this, using the right emails, warming your emails, sending at a low volume. There's a whole bunch of pieces, so stick around. I'm gonna try to go into as much depth as possible, and I do have other videos that'll kind of show how to create an email, how to set up a campaign, what numbers are supposed to be there. Now, the first piece to understand is when you look at this open rate and you see 100%, it's actually not 100% per email sent. What it is 100% of my contacts in this campaign have opened an email that I've sent them. So with this campaign specifically, I'm sending a 3-email series. So I'm sending the first email, a follow-up email, and then one after that. So I'm having multiple opportunities for them to actually see that. So my first email might have, a 50% open rate, and the second one might have a 50% open rate. But at the end of it, if I send an email, 100 people are opening it, but not every individual series. So they might open the first one, or they might only open the second one. But the nice thing is, if they open the second one, there's a good chance they went back and looked at the first one. And so you're getting that kind of open rate and then the high response rate. So that's the first piece of understanding the 100% open rate, so you guys aren't like, that's impossible. Now, the high response rate is really giving the right offer to the right people. So it's not necessarily selling your service, and that's where a lot of people have really low open rates, 1%, 2%, 3%. 3% is a really good one if you're just selling a service, but lead magnets and freebies and giveaways are how you're gonna get those higher 13, 14, 25% open rate or response rates. And that's really simple, is you need to give them something they're actually interested. Alex Ramosi says probably the best. He says, give something that you are selling and give it away for free. So one of the really good campaigns that any business owner, any entrepreneur can do is a podcast campaign. So if you think about that podcast campaign, what you're doing is you're giving something that most people want to do, is they want to get on a podcast with you, especially if you find the right audience. And so you're gonna have really high open rates and really high response rates by using the right subject and the right email copy. Typically with this, we wanna be really clear and concise with our subject. Podcast interview with, and that can be your subject line, and then the email copy could be something really short and simple, like, hey, I saw you're having a lot of success in the B2B space or in the marketing space. I would love to jump on a short podcast with you in studio. We're local, we're down the street from you, is one of the ones we've used and had a lot of success with that, because we're like, hey, we're 10 minutes away, and you can get hyper-targeted and say like that and say, you're in St. Pete, Florida, saw you're having a lot of success in the marketing realm. We're a marketing agency, would love to have you on our podcast to talk about X, Y, and Z, and get hyper-personalized and really connect with those individuals. And now the trick to that is figuring out how to do that on a scale. That I'll leave up to you guys. The other pieces to this, the nuances to it, is using the right software. So if you see on my screen share, I'm using Instantly AI. That's kind of software. It's probably the industry leading right now for open rates, response rates. Their AI and their algorithm works really well. The next piece of that is, like I said, the right contacts. So creating your targeted media list. For that, one of the main tools that I use is Apollo.io. So you're able to get very specific with that. So these campaigns, especially when you're talking about the high open rates and the premium offers, for the example of the podcast, a podcast campaign will do decent across the country and probably across the world. But if you can get more specific to we're in St. Pete, Florida. So if you're targeting the geographic region of 30-minute drive and you're saying, hey, I saw you're having success in this, we'd love to have you in our local studio, you've really increased the value from something that other people can easily do to something that most people can't do, because you're in studio, you're doing a podcast, you can talk about your reach and you can really explain the value of that, especially in those follow-ups. But that's something that most people, entrepreneurs, business owners, they're gonna want that. So targeting those local people, finding the CEOs, finding the executives, finding them in the right margin where they're, not making $100 million and could care less about your small podcast, but they're in that right niche, or they're influencers and they have a good reach and they want to be involved. That's going to be a big piece of it. Now, the technical piece of it is obviously creating those emails, getting everything set up. I do have another video on that, so I'm not going to spend too much time, but this is really high level, how you're going to send an email and make sure that you're getting the highest open rates. I did promise you guys a freebie at the end, so if you look in the description down below, there should be a link to get 10,000 free business leads. That way you can start your first campaign basically for free. I hope you guys have success. Please make sure to subscribe, and I appreciate it.